11 minutes past 1 is the time. There were 16,300 more deaths than births in the UK in the year to mid-2023. This is according to new figures from the Office for National Statistics. So if you forget the pandemic, this is the first time the UK has seen negative natural change. This hasn't happened since the mid-1970s. Do we care? Should we care? What does it mean? Well, this is why we talked to Melinda Mills, who's Professor of Demography at the University of Oxford. Hello, Melinda. Hello, Professor.
Hi.
Hi. May I call you Melinda?
You certainly can.
Thank you. So what's going on? What is going on? Because we're out of the pandemic. You kind of wouldn't be surprised when deaths exceeded births during the pandemic, during those 2 to 3 years. But now what's happening?
Yeah, so as demographers, we always think about population in sort of like three parts of the puzzle. So you have births, so that's one part of it. So for the last decades, actually, people in the UK have been having later children and fewer children. And then, as you were talking about it as well, too, we've had changes in deaths and life expectancy. So people are living longer, not necessarily healthier, but so you have this aging population. And then the other piece of the puzzle, of course, is immigration. So you've had increases over time related to immigration as well, too. So it's all of those three things put together that that we calculate then the annual population growth rate. So so it's stagnated in some ways, but it's grown in other ways too for different reasons.
How do we compare to other countries of a similar ilk?
Yeah, so this is really interesting. So if you look at sort of in general across sort of similar types of populations, you have so the UK with the ONS was publishing today as a 1% annual increase. So Germany has a 0.7, France 0.3. Similar to US 0.4. But then you have countries such as Canada that are increasing by 2%, or you have the really high fertility countries such as Nigeria that are increasing annually by 3.2%. And then you have a lot of shrinking countries as well in Europe. So Italy is shrinking by minus 0.3%. So, the UK is comparable, but it has higher levels of immigration in comparison to some of its European counterparts.
In terms of where we're similar, where's bucking the trend then?
Yeah. So where we're somewhat different in terms of, and I think this has been published widely, is there were record inflows in 2022 in relation to net immigration. So it was about 745,000. We have countries such as Germany that have about 330,000, Italy 160,000. And I think that was actually for different reasons. We have a humanitarian crisis in many areas around the world. So refugees from Ukraine, British nationals from Hong Kong, and also recruiting workers into the NHS and care sector. So quite a few people came to work. And, as I mentioned, we have this aging population. So we need, workers to support that as well. And as well, international students are part of that as well, too. But I think the real thing is when we're looking at this is, we've had this really dramatic decrease in births as well. And, for those who were born in 1990, so they'd be about, age 30, 50% still haven't had their first child. So people are postponing having children, having fewer children, and having, children much later as well, too. So it's a combination of all those factors.
It's fascinating. Thank you so much, Melinda Mills, a Professor of Demography at the University of Oxford. Thank you.
Thank you.